Do I have a ketchup secret? Does the president of the United States have a ketchup secret? In the Seinfeld episode where Elaine was standing over the, I guess, chairman of NBC at the time, and she was asking him, do you have a ketchup secret? Is it about shaking or pounding it? So things are counterintuitive in life. And that's what we're going to discuss in this video. My name is Mark Biernot, and I'm a monetary economist. In this video, I want to talk about how things may seem like common sense, like the president often uses that term, but they're actually counterintuitive. When you shake or pound ketchup, it's a non-Newtonian fluid. So the more you shake and pound it, it creates this thickening effect, and it lowers the rate that ketchup goes out. And specifically in this video, I'm talking about how my claim is by the time Trump leaves office, whenever that is, his debt, the debt of the United States of America, will significantly increase, both in nominal terms and in the debt to GDP ratio, because he's doing these tariffs, which common sense tells you, okay, we're going to tax things and nurture domestic industry. And nurture, it makes it sound great. Domestic, it sounds great. Domestic, it comes from their Latin word home. So I have an answer to that. This is the sequence of events known in economics. Tariffs go up, producer prices go up, consumer prices go up, even domestic prices go up. The Federal Reserve will immediately say increased interest rates. All those effects will have a consequence of consumption going down and investment going down. When that happens, there's less tax revenue. When that happens, the debt goes up. Under the current president's first term, the debt went not only up in nominal terms substantially, but the debt to GDP went up to like from 102 to like 127 or something. I don't have notes in front of me, so sometimes I may be off a smidgen. Do you think he's going to come in, put his cowboy hat on, ride in, and then just fix it all? If he's banking, if he's showing all his cards, and he's banking that tariffs will somehow enrich people, there's an answer to that, okay? There's a few problems. Frederick Bastiat, it's a French economist, 1854, I'm better with numbers than pronunciation. He had basically said, in regards to tariffs, he said this. He said, if we want to nurture domestic industries, we should pass a law that says every household must close the blinds, close the shutters and the doors, and seal all the cracks so no sunlight comes in, and this would nurture the candlestick industry. Then the domestic candlestick industry will be nurtured. This was a serious economist. So there's our first problem. It favors some things at the expense of others. It's a huge decrease in utility, consumer and producer utility, called deadweight loss, and I've mentioned this comparative advantage. But there's another problem. He wants to shift the burden of taxes. If all the revenue generated in America is going down, that will push the debt to equity, the debt to GDP ratio up. It's like if I have a household and if I make, $20,000 a year and I have a debt of, $20,000, that's a lot of debt. But if I make $100,000 and I have $20,000 debt, that's not a lot of debt. That's why this relative debt is much more important than the nominal debt. He wants to push income down through nurturing domestic industries. Why not just make America the land of candlestick makers, blacksmiths for horseshoes, and typewriter factories? Don't you see that the market naturally prunes out inefficiencies much faster than a central planner can, much faster than imposing a tariff on one country versus another? Speaking of which, come on, you think China is just going to take, 10% tariff, you win. What do you think they're going to do? When I'm working out often, I have this thing I do a touch and go. I'll have a landmark and I touch and then I go. And then I'll go to the next landmark. They'll just circumnavigate that through, doing a touch and go in Vietnam. And then if it comes under scrutiny, they'll be doing touch and goes everywhere. They're clever people. They'll figure a way out. And, I think business has an incentive in the U.S. to kind of look the other way, but I'm not even concerned about that Chinese tariff. That's only a nominal 10% This, the Canadian tariff. What is it? I think it's an elk. I thought it was a moose, but it's an elk, actually. Canadian tariff is much more devastating to the U.S. economy. So the sequence of events of increased producer costs, increased consumer costs, that's increased inflation, both CPI and PPI, increased interest rate, decreased investment, and decreased consumption will decrease tax revenue. Then you say, well, the founding fathers, initially Jefferson was anti-tariff, and then he even became, you imagine this agrarian society, peaceful. And he even said, with Washington and a few other others, that maybe we need some of these tariffs at the end. Well, the problem is, the current administration, I believe, wants to shift the tax burden away from, domestic type taxes on individuals to tariffs, which is a tax on consumption. Okay, it's a little bit like a VAT tax, value-added tax. The problem with that is this. It's that our tax system is, forgive me, somewhat fair, because if you're in a higher tax bracket, you pay more. If you're in a lower tax bracket, you get something like an earned income tax credit, which is almost an outgrowth of the Milton Friedman. As I've said, I'm a little bit of an unrepentant capitalist, but kind of in Milton Friedman believed, as I do, in a negative income tax. Okay, and your income tax credit is a little bit like that. So when we lower the domestic taxes, it becomes really a tax on the poor, because everybody pays for tariffs of increased prices, increased inflation, except for the rich, because it's a percentage of your disposable income. My solution, I'm giving you a solution, is better than, when I didn't make a lot of money, I was shopping at Walmart, and then I'm thinking, should I take it up a notch and shop at Dollar Tree for hot dogs? I don't recommend it if you ever had Dollar Tree hot dogs. Better than kind of, squeak blood out of a stone, squeeze it. Better is try to just up your income, up your game. And the number one, the magic pixie dust to do that is free markets. I just keep on saying this ad nauseam. Then when I boosted my game and my income, I just blow cash at Whole Foods. I couldn't spend enough money. And I still didn't have any debt. So it's the income equation and not the, micromanaging the economy and steering it in a way that you think. Because that's the thing about being human. The smart people are everywhere. Let me read a quote from Adam Smith. Okay. He said, the difference between the most dissimilar characters between a philosopher and a common street porter, for example, seems to arise not so much from the nature as the habit, custom, and education. So if we yank the rug under the, poor people by increasing inflation, by improving tariffs and taking away earned income tax credit and favoring the wealthy because they'll create the capital formation, you're basically disagreeing with Adam Smith that there's no difference in people, that I believe we all add up to 100%, just like Adam Smith did, except in kind of like this general nurturing, this educational standing. I mean, what if the president of the United States was born somewhere like, somewhere like Ukraine, right? He might be, and he was growing up currently in the current situation, he might be tooting a different horn. So these experiences in life, ultimately equality is not the ultimate good. That's one of the reasons I'm not a Marxist or socialist. But freedom isn't either. That's why ultimately justice is the ultimate good. Justice is what we want to strive for. And this tariff is an unjust thing. It will impoverish America. By the end of this current president's term, let's hope it's like 2029 and we're free at last. Okay? I can almost guarantee you that the U.S. debt will be increased, because the only way we can pay that debt is through higher income. And the only way we get higher income is let the markets work. Like I said, if we just seal the borders of Florida off, will Florida become a wealthier state? It's the same idea between countries and states. Better is to work with your friends, bridge allies, don't support despotism like in Russia, support free market, free movement of labor and capital. Okay? free trade. Free trade is much more important than low taxes, much more. And that will make the world a better place. So this guy, this president, doesn't have a ketchup secret. He's doing something which seems intuitive and common sense. Yeah, man, just increase the tariffs, nurture industries. But like I said, what are we going to nurture? The metaphorical typewriter industry, the metaphorical candlestick industry, metaphorical blacksmith industry. In 5 years or in 6 years, the future changes so much. Whatever we want to nurture today, this favoritism, this industrial policy we want to nurture today will be like some Stone Age. Everything is on a scientific X curve, accelerating. You know, the internet of the 1990s is nothing like it is today. And every single year, there's new acceleration, but it has to come from the market. It can't be turned and nurtured by government, technocrats. Japan kind of tried that. And I don't think it worked out that great for them, although it's a pretty nice country. So that's enough of today. I thought I'd steer a little bit away from Russia and Ukraine just to take a breather while we let these peace talks kind of manifest itself and see where we can take a better position. And again, I'm very confident. I say it every time, light wins over darkness. My name is Mark Bernard. I'm a monetary economist. Have a great day. Thank you very much.